Yo everyone, what's going on? Couriway here, and welcome back to another episode of our 100k runs report. This time, we're going to be taking a look at 20 runs that have happened recently on my streams, which you can check out live at twitch.tv/Couriway, except don't go there too soon after this video because I'm going to be away on vacation, heading to Europe, playing an MCC Twitch Rivals live. This was the last two streams I did before I ended up leaving, and let's get started with the first run of the day. This run starts with the worst biome for speedrunning in my opinion, a Mesa spawn. Oh my god, Mesa. Gross and ugly. I wanted to leave this immediately, so I head to a faraway plains to play a normal village overworld, and once in the nether, I play a pretty far bastion where after leaving, I thought we were going to run into our good friend Trevor, so I try to avoid that at all costs. Unfortunately, the other direction I was heading in was a barren wasteland, and I had to end up trading another bastion for more resources. After going over 1,000 blocks out, what's my reward? Trevor anyway! I don't know if you remember this already, but that was the thing that I'm trying to avoid. I'm out of food, so I portal to the overworld early, which took way too long to get anything. Trevor must have felt a bit bad, so I at least get a looting 2 sword at the bottom, which makes the fortress split about 5 seconds. Oh my god. We were able to get our first actual I Spy since moving, but as sweet as that was, I was unable to zero cycle. I could finally sneak into the end fountain to nail the ground zero for a 37-minute first run.
That was really clean. That was really clean. 8 bed. Let's freaking go.
A slow start. Now let's try and bounce back on this next one. We start with a completely empty village, so I cave for all my iron to enter here.
You're gonna tell me I have a fort this way, but you're not gonna... Oh, I see it. Oh my god, wait. Pearl hang of the century. Oh my god.
The cool thing about this run was I was able to do a pearl hang to a fortress at spawn thanks to being in a warp forest, which absolutely clutched up after the bastion. Another seed I couldn't end up zero cycling.
Oh, I trolled.
But the dragon perched just in time to finish up with a 20-minute time, beating the sub 21 prediction for the believers. This next seed is one of the worst ocean spawns I've had in such a long time because I can't see anything through all of these icebergs. Although one did look really cool and we got to boat through it like we were in a movie or something. Eventually we found a boat, and after a far buried treasure for our food, we could finally enter. This is the 3rd stables bastion in a row, and let me tell you right now, it is not going to be the last one you see today. And I'm so grateful this one had 2 good gaps because I needed to trade both just to get my pearls. Although Trevor really wanted to offer me more.
Oh, okay. Sure, man. That's fine.
For the second time today, we portal out just to get some food and can finally get to the fortress.
106, 687. Kablam.
Diamonds! 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 Finish strong with the first zero cycle of the day with a nice side setup. In the next seed, we head to the wackiest village type, an ice village, and kill the golem before caving for the rest of my iron, where I also see a floating minecart chest.
Dude, it's floating! What?
And mined a 9 vein of diamonds. It got a little crazy in the 4th stables bastion in a row. After making it to the fort, the stronghold is 2,000 blocks away with some very odd ravine generation, and for maybe the first time in this challenge, I did a zero cycle without a trapdoor step stool, which was difficult but also rewarding. You see, I am shorter than other speedrunners, so I need to use a step stool.
Maybe like, hello?
Well, not exactly. Normally, ground zero is done by top level runners with a macro that makes it much easier to place a bed. However, I personally don't like using external tools like this, so I usually place a trapdoor at the bottom to make it easier to place beds. This does come with a drawback of making it more likely the dragon flies away and comes back to you, which can be annoying, but I've gotten good enough at the timing where this really isn't even an issue anymore.
Uh-oh. It's gonna lock in. Oh my, I'm so good! I'm actually so good, I cannot believe that bed killed.
So let's hop into the next run. Houndy's calling me.
Yo, what's up, man?
Yo, you want to fill for Dylan in couples counseling in 12 minutes?
Do I want to fill for Dylan in couples counseling? Who's my teammate?
Feinberg.
Yeah!
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I'll so in 12 minutes?
Okay, so mid 100,000 speedrun session, I get a call from my best friend, President Poundcake, asking me to fill in his Minecraft charity speedrun tournament and play with my good friend, Feinberg. The gist of the tournament is that Feinberg does a speedrun race while I backseat him, and I do the same while he backseats me.
Dude, did you put 2 TNT there?
No, I put 1. I put a... Oh! Never mind. I did? Oh, wait, that blew up my wood! Oh my god. Rare throw. My bad.
You know Feinberg, aka the greatest Minecraft player on the planet, so thanks to very little help from myself, we took a 2-0 victory over our pals Silver and Pyro, who you should both check out, and over an hour later, we get to hop right back into runs like we never left. Okay, maybe not like we never left, because I had an early death on this next seed, which actually turned out to be a good thing, because I realized I missed a lava pool right at the spawn, which I used to enter the nether after mining in the 2nd cave. Once entering, we had a closed treasure bastion where I got hit off the bridge, even though I threw some gold, and basically every piglin in the bastion decided to chase me into lava.
Yo, who are these guys? guys? Who the hell are these? Who are you? Oh my, I have no pegs. I have no pegs. After a top and bottom mining experience and a far fortress with bad blaze rates and almost dying doing triangulation, we can finally get to the end to finish our 5th run of the day. Oh my god, that pro was horrible. That pro was so bad. Not my proudest moment, to be sure. But after a truckload of blocks, we make it back and hit a ground zero in about 160p because the dragon's breath is on top of me that somehow was still a sub 35. After a forest spawn, I rush my way to a village, and after getting 3-ironed by this beefcake, we hop in the ravine without any wood or brain cells and still somehow get a decent nether enter. But entering our 5th stables in 6 seeds gives us 19 obby until some gold from a chest saves the day for our 20th piece, allowing us to finally get to the fort that's only a pearl throw away. The blazes didn't get the memo that this was a good seed, and without explosives for a 0 cycle, we have to settle for a perch ending with a 20-minute, 10-second run. For seed 6, I get my 2nd Mesa spawn of the day in the complete middle of nowhere and had to go hundreds of blocks just to get some iron, and the only reason this seed was even remotely redeemable was this ruined portal chest and a surface lava pool nearby, but was still almost a 9-minute enter. But once in the nether, we had great terrain to a bastion. And guess what, by the way? Guess what bastion it was? Take a guess. It was another stables. Can you believe that? That led to a solid fortress and a silly gas portal room interaction that put me in a cave right next to the stronghold, where after backtracking to find the portal room, ended up with a half bow for a final time of 20 minutes and 10 seconds. In case you didn't notice, the past 2 runs finished with the same exact time. I don't know the last time that's ever happened in this challenge, if at all, but I'll leave the spreadsheet in the description down below for anyone to check if they are interested, because I have no idea. And maybe while you're down there, consider subscribing, as I've been trying to put these videos out much more frequently compared to my normal content, and I've really been enjoying it. So seeing any support from you all really means a lot to me. This next seed, though, is, it's not going to be 20 minutes and 10 seconds. Potentially thanks to this jungle spawn, but I ended up being able to find a massive cave opening in a plains that actually ended up leading to a pretty easy enter. I had a hard time finding the bastion, so I played a ridiculous fort first with piglins attacking me from all over, and after dealing with all of that nonsense, it was far bastion time. And thanks to literally a singular zombie piglin, this route had 0 pigs until I did some housekeeping with them. It honestly still had a chance to actually be 20 minutes and 10 seconds, but a tough stronghold and a really bad perch made it so this run would be 24 minutes. But another sub 25, making it 3 in a row. All right, it's time for a shift real quick. Okay. All right, this is the most lock-in overworld we've had so far. It's rare, but once in a while in this challenge, there's a seed that demands my absolute full attention. So let me introduce you to a top 10 seed I have ever rolled in this challenge. Immediately, I see a full boat with only 7 iron and no food, forcing me to go for the buried treasure, which still gave me very little food, but it did put me right near a magma ravine, allowing for a blistering 230 enter for no reset. And I instantly recognize I'm right next to a fortress, and I have a very close bastion spike. A beautiful Soulsand Valley fortress we could potentially use home portal for, and a treasure bastion easily accessible from the back. I played this route beautifully, even with some basalt corruption on the bridge, and got everything I needed entering the fortress at 5 minutes and 30 seconds. One of the fastest fortress enters ever in this challenge, and faster than my own 11-minute 15-second PB a couple years ago while resetting. After getting not the greatest blaze rates, but really good blaze spawns, I made the decision to pearl away from the fort because I didn't want to connect my home portal because I knew it would put me back in the ravine and I didn't want to travel all the way up and down. So I end up blinding incredibly fast for this challenge, but the stronghold is unfortunately 2,000 blocks away. Honestly, this pace, it could still beat the challenge best of 14 minutes flat pretty easily, but what killed this run was a mix of bad terrain from the seed and bad terrain navigation from me. Taking the line I did put me back in the overworld around 11 minutes, but the stronghold was still a couple hundred blocks away, and even with all of that, I still entered the end on pace to potentially get a new PB. But I didn't have explosives for 0, so I was relying on a perch which didn't come, and I had to settle with a 15-minute 3-second time. I cannot stress this enough. This seed is ridiculous for this challenge. It's almost exactly what I could expect at the best seed level for a no reset challenge. There were a couple problems, mainly being the spawn was one of the weirdest things I've ever seen, and I messed up some pearl throws heading to the second portal coordinates. If I had gone off my angle originally after re-entering the nether, I could have found some better top terrain, but at the end of the day, the stronghold was just too far, and because of 4 explosives, I was at the mercy of the dragon. And with that, only one more run on this day, which started with a treeless spawn where I could have gone to another mesa, so instead we take a dolphin to a really far desert temple, which still gives us nothing, and after getting cooked by these pigs for food, we enter at the 7-minute mark. Another weird fort first seed, but this one had some tough terrain to get to, and after not having a bastion and 32 chunks from the fortress, we had to track a good while just to find something, which after routing this housing only gave me 9 pearls before I used the backups, and I also had 0 chance of getting 2 portals worth of obsidian, so we had to settle for the blind, which was... it was 2,200 blocks But hey, that's just what happens sometimes when you blind in the second stronghold ring, and after a ground zero, we finished the day off with a 31-minute time, causing us to just miss out on a sub 25 average for the day. A lot of ups and downs on this day, but mostly ups. Like you saw, we had one of the best seeds ever in this challenge, and although some seeds were a little bit slow, I never felt like I played awful on any of them. We might not get a seed like that 9th one for a long while, so you might have to wait a bit. But what you don't have to wait on is the next day of runs. Let's go! And this day starts with a half boat for iron and a buried treasure for my food, and hopped in an ocean cave for a sub 5 enter. I had a rare instance where I completely forget what type of bastion I'm in. I had to improvise, let's say, on this routing, but after leaving, we go to an insanely far fortress where I nearly died to a wither I pearled into, but was able to finish relatively quick thanks to a close stronghold and the very rare ground 1 cycle combo. Are you... Okay. Cool. Okay, I'll take the sub 21 with that. How does a ground zero work? Not like that. Not like that, because that was a ground 0-1 cycle. Seed 2 was a very different overworld, running super far to a village that ended up having a great cave all the way down to lava nearby for an easy nether enter again. I got a ton of piglins in this housing, but the spawner was Trevor. But I said goodbye very quickly, and even though the fortress was 26 chunks away, it was so easy to get there, where I got some amazing strays, another amazing blind distance, and hit a 0 for a sub 18 finish. A much better start on these first 2 runs today than yesterday, and let's try and keep this up today. It might be difficult though with this treeless island, so after swimming over a minute just to get to a boat, we again get a buried treasure and enter the nether right around 5 minutes and 30 seconds. I didn't have the best start in the nether here by walking into lava and eating poisonous stew, so my character is going through it a bit here. Then I had a crazy skeleton interaction while trying to grab my boat back, and I would have cried if I fell off here because I already saw a fort on the way to the bastion, and I knew this was going to be at least a decent seed. But that was gone very quickly after I only had 12 pearls from the top of this treasure, where I again knew where the fortress was already, so I really did not want to have to play the bottom. But the pigs gave me no choice. The rod rates or the blind did not help the cause, and the dragon even broke bet on 0. Just a lot of unfortunate stuff on what could have been a pretty decent seed in another world. Speaking of another world, this one is a mesa, and it's bad because it's a mesa, and I have to go to 3 caves because it's a mesa. Actually, it's not the mesa's fault I have to go to 3 caves, but I'm gonna blame it anyway because I just hate mesa biomes. I also had to kill 9,000 sheep for food because they just kept giving me 1-drops, and finally I could enter where I immediately am in a fortress with no bastion anywhere nearby. So I played the fortress, which was going pretty good, until I blaze betted getting a little greedy where it became overwhelming very quickly, ending up with me dying to a skeleton from behind. So I gotta run back, get my stuff, and just get 1 more rod for 7, and while trying to escape the madness, there's just too many blazes and I die again. These deaths felt like something out of a Tom and Jerry skit. I'm not kidding. All I was trying to do was just survive at all, and it was just pandemonium cartoon style. The good thing is, with how close my enter was, this was like 3 minutes of time lost total, which is like nothing in the grand scheme of things of what this actually could have been. So finally I can get to the bastion, which is a lava housing, and this being lava housing is probably more of a time loss than any of the deaths that I had in this run. I paid no attention to the fact that I left on 7 rods, so when 3 broke, I needed a 1-eye. But thankfully, I got it. All skill, by the way, and hit the 0 where I almost died, but we got it, not even close. On this next run, we head to a far ship and a buried treasure where when digging down for the enter, my water was a ghost bucket, but I somehow clutched up enough to not die in this bizarre interaction. The bridge chalice looked like a coffee mug, and I nearly threw a stack of gold out of my inventory because I misclicked while clearing some stuff out. Then after trading, headed back to a fortress I had pie charted for a spawner earlier, which led to some tough terrain to the second portal before an ocean exposed portal room. Here's a question. Can you guess what's wrong with my hotbar? I will give you 5 seconds to figure it out. If you guess that I normally have my pearls and my beds in a swapped spot, you'd be correct. And that mistake just ruined one of the best potential days ever, as I was not able to save the low bed on 0 cycle and got flung into outer space. In the first 100k run recap about a week ago, we had some really tough runs, but I can confidently say that the death you just watched on the 0 was more annoying than any of them combined. I am so mad that I threw away a sub 18 due to being an absolute idiot, and it's taking like everything in me to not just like completely lose my mind and like curse my head off right now. Like, I can't lie. The risk reward was none, and I mumbled about it all the way back, which took about 15 minutes, ending the seed in 33 minutes and 1 second. I could probably get a sub 15 on the next seed, and I would still be frustrated about this one. Deaths like this are just so frustrating to me because they are so preventable. I recognize in the moment what the problem is, I assume that I'm going to be fine and don't do anything about it, and then I completely forget about it and die to said problem. That is like implanted into my brain. Like, I'm not even kidding. There's one thing that's there's certain things that are just implanted in my brain from this challenge. To give an example, one of them, there was a time where I fell off a blaze spawner because I didn't have pearls in my hotbar,
And I remember JazzHack telling me specifically to always have pearls in my hotbar because I just never did it. And every time I go to Blazebed the spawner, I always look for my hotbar to make sure I have pearls. And this is just now gonna be the new thing. Like I will always make sure that this is correct. Like literally every single time. That was horrific. That was actually the worst thing ever. I am so upset about that run. It's insane. Oh my god, dude. I feel like I aged 10 years after that. Okay. Oh, come on. Housing. Wait. Dude, I almost don't want this to do anything because Poundy's gonna say the reason that this seed is good is because he got unbanned. .7. Boo. No society if Couriway hits. Well, this could still PB. I'd probably just send it on like 6 beds anyway. All right, please cooperate. Oh, or we don't. Oh, hold on. I had something there, surely, right? I don't think it's sub 15s. Oh my god, you suck. Dude, you are... Oh my god. How am I on the block? Oh my god. Get in the friggin' portal! 14 for 56. I'll take it. This seed honestly wasn't even that good. It's just that everything kind of worked, especially the terrain to the second portal. But with a quicker enter or hitting the I Spy or even just getting preemptive, I had a real shot of beating my challenge PB for the second time in just this recap alone. And before I teased about getting a sub 15 on this run that I would probably still be mad about the last run, yeah, I still am mad. Even recording this recap, I'm still mad at myself. But we move on. So moving right into the nether, my boat broke heading to the bastion, and I got a ton of pigs in a double triple stables where they had a bouncer not letting me leave. 2 for 18 on blaze rods in the fortress to start the split, but eventually we dug into the stronghold and did a rare full bow since I had low explosives from the stables. In the 8th seed of the day, I caved, but I forgot to put any fuel in my furnace, so this took a little bit longer than it should have to enter the nether, and once I did, just watch this one. You're joking. That is the craziest bug I've ever seen. Thank God I saved the pickaxe, because once I got back, I saw a bastion staring me directly in the face, and because I kept the pickaxe, I could play the seed still fairly quickly. So after an easy housing, we get to the fort quick, get some good blaze rates, and even with the lava death, beat the seed in just over 21 minutes. I haven't mentioned this yet, but every 100 runs, we do a run on the most recent version of Minecraft instead of 1.16.1 to remind ourselves how much better speedrunning is on 1.16.1, and also to remind ourselves what the game actually looks like now. The next run is number 3499, so after that, we'll be taking our talents to 1.21 for the first time, which is something as a fan of Minecraft I'm looking forward to, but as a speedrunner, maybe not as much. So let's make it through this seed first by finding a lava pool before I even found iron, but even once I did, I had no animals anywhere and had to hope for mushrooms or a crimson in the nether. On the way to the bastion, I spot the fortress but could not find an easy way to enter this buried housing at all. Eventually, I find my way in, but there's no pigs and I have to leave on 13 obsidian, but the pace is picked right back up by a super easy double blaze spawner. I build my first and only portal in the second ring for strongholds and get a pretty average 1500 block blind, but at least it's ocean where while using dolphins, one of them gets domed by a trident. Eventually, the stronghold is ocean exposed and we finish the last run before 1.21 with a really clean ground zero. So before we head into the 1.20 run, let me give you a bit of context in case you're unfamiliar on what makes 1.21 so much worse for speedrunning. The first and most obvious thing is the barter rates. The barter rates for pretty much everything speedrunner related is way worse in more recent versions of Minecraft compared to 1.16.1. Second, and potentially even more obvious to people watching, is piglin brutes. It's more you have to just play a little bit more patient and slow with them. But my least favorite change personally is that you are unable to change gamma anymore, and the fog in the nether is just absolutely horrific. I mean, seriously, how do they expect people to enjoy adventuring in the nether if you can't see 4 chunks in front of you? So let's hop into the first speedrun of 1.21 in our no reset challenge. In the beginning, it plays a bit like a normal 1.16 seed as I force an ocean that gets me a full boat and a buried treasure for food. But before I get to the BT, I head to a monument for 8 extra gold blocks that should make my life with the worst trades much easier.
Luckily, not too far from my buried treasure, I find an enterable ruin portal that also gives me another gold block for an 8-minute enter that spawns me right near a fortress. I don't mind fortresses first, as seeing them in the fog can be extremely annoying, so just getting one structure out of the way so quick is really nice. The bastion ended up being incredibly far though, and since E-Rain doesn't work consistently in this version, I'm stuck digging around in a circle for a buried bastion for over 5 minutes, just trying to find piglin brutes that are on my pie chart. Eventually I dig in, and it's the worst case scenario. A double bag gap stables with 0 gold blocks in the bottom. I might have to play with mostly my monument gold to get anything. After checking all the chests, I have a hard time seeing that the piglins are done trading their items on the floor in the darkness, which causes 3 to attack me, and I end up dying in a really tough spot. I push my way back as quick as I can, and miraculously, the piglins gave me 15 pearls from both the triple chest gold and the monument gold. I blinded and immediately got an eye break. Head a bit farther to distance estimate and get another eye break, and all of a sudden, after getting super close to the stronghold, I have another eye break. I am down to my final 12 eyes. I cannot afford to throw another eye without risking a massive time loss. So I attempt to dig down in multiple spots, but eventually I have to accept that I missed my dig and throw one more eye, which I lose in a cave.
Please.
This also ends up pretty much sealing the fate that this run would be our first hour-long run since my original 1000. At some point with the RNG and the difficulty of more recent versions of Minecraft, I was bound to get a run over an hour in this version. Back to the nether I went, digging around like a mole rat until peeking into a warped forest where I got not 1, but 2 pearls, where after making the journey all the way back, I can finally enter the end 72 minutes into the run and finish off this absolutely draining experience in an hour and 16 minutes.
World record. Society has been changed forever.
And what better time than now to give a state of the runs address? Honestly, when I started doing the every 100 runs would be in the most recent version of Minecraft, the thought of my hour streak never even crossed my mind. The way the stats are calculated in the spreadsheet is these runs are kind of filed into a separate category compared to the 1.16 runs, so everything that I track isn't really affected by these runs because it's really not a fair comparison. But it is still kind of crazy that it hadn't happened before and finally happened now, even on a seed where I only died once and everything was even kind of close. The things that were really just killer in this run was the eye breaks. It was just absolutely nuts. But everything else during these 2 days of runs was pretty insane. Sure, there were a couple runs where I wish I played better, but the fact that there were 2 runs that could have had a challenge PB in one recap, especially a shorter recap, is nuts. It kind of makes me just excited for what could happen in the future. Like, I feel like I've had a good streak of seeds recently, but that might continue for a while, it might not. Who knows? But in my opinion, that's part of the beauty of the challenge, right? Like, I never know when I'm finally going to get a seed that's actually good. And I feel like both of these times I was pretty prepared. There was just a couple things that were either out of my control or things that I know I can do a little bit better next time. And it'll happen. We're going to keep knocking on the door of that PB. It'll happen. I really appreciate all the support, and I hope to see you all soon for another video and in streams. Thank you so much for watching. Remember to subscribe if you aren't already, and I will see you next time. Peace out, everyone.